On May 24, 2015, a Coffee County resident was the victim of a documented domestic assault. When deputies arrived, they did not encounter uncertainty. They encountered evidence. Blood was visible. Bruising was present. And on the victim's arm was a clear, unmistakable human bite mark. The assailant admitted what he had done. He apologized repeatedly, in front of law enforcement. This was not a disputed encounter. It was a documented assault. Under ordinary circumstances, this evidence would have triggered an immediate arrest. Instead, something unusual happened. An unauthorized courtesy call was made. The suspect's brother, Assistant Police Chief Adam Floied, arrived on scene before any arrest occurred. After that call, the trajectory changed. The suspect was released. The victim was left behind. The responding deputies understood exactly what the evidence meant. One deputy documented that the suspect himself believed he was going to jail. Another deputy recorded that the victim reported being struck multiple times and bitten on the arm. These were not after-the-fact assumptions. They were contemporaneous observations. Probable cause was not forming. It already existed. Tennessee law is explicit in cases like this. When an officer has probable cause to believe a domestic assault occurred, the officer shall arrest. This was not ambiguous to the deputies on scene. One officer stated plainly that the statute required arrest. At that point, discretion was removed. The law dictated the outcome. Yet the arrest did not happen. The deputies documented why. The suspect informed officers that he was calling his brother. One deputy later described the moment honestly: "I was damned if I do, and damned if I don't, because of who his brother is." Enforcement shifted not because the evidence changed, but because the suspect's family connection did. After that night, the record began to change. One deputy did not change his account. Deputy Nesmith stood by what he documented on the scene: the injuries, the admission, the bite mark. Others later altered their positions. Deputy Jarvis and his supervisor Danny Farrell stated they were no longer certain who the aggressor was. That newly manufactured uncertainty had consequences. It allowed the victim, not the abuser, to be charged. The professional outcomes were not equal. Nesmith was removed from patrol and reassigned. Jarvis was promoted and made an investigator. Charging authority did not rest with the deputies. It rested with the district attorney's office. With that authority came an obligation to act independently, impartially, and in the interest of justice. Especially when the evidence points to a clear victim. The victim did not retreat. Days later, she went directly to the district attorney's office. She demanded that her abuser be prosecuted. She asked the system to enforce the law, the same law that officers acknowledged applied. That request should have triggered accountability. Instead, it triggered retaliation. Rather than charging the admitted aggressor alone, the district attorney's office charged both parties. To justify that decision, the office had to disregard the injuries, disregard the confession, and disregard the original reports. The victim became the defendant. The reason for that reversal was not subtle. The district attorney maintained a personal relationship with the suspect's brother. He provided a direct assurance: "I'm going to handle your brother's case." That statement signaled more than involvement. It signaled protection. The case against the victim was eventually dismissed. But dismissal did not undo the harm. She spent years fighting to clear her name. Years of litigation. Years of damage inflicted not by her abuser, but by the system charged with protecting her. This case represents moral inversion. The victim was prosecuted. The abuser was shielded. Not because of evidence, but because of loyalty and power. It is a dual system of justice. The two individuals responsible for charging a victim for her own abuse have risen to the highest levels of local authority: chief of police and district attorney. This leadership creates a dangerous precedent, signaling to every woman in the community that seeking help for domestic violence could result in their own prosecution. Furthermore, it grants a blank check to abusers with personal ties to the department, ensuring they remain untouchable while their victims are silenced by the state.